Hello and welcome. My name is MaryAnn Anderson and I'm the founder and creator of SmartGrant. In this video, we will explore how to use the SmartGrant search function. Once you have completed your SmartGrant subscription and your personal eligibility profile, you are now ready to start searching for grants and funding programs within the database. After you've logged in, you'll be automatically directed to your personal dashboard. From here, you can access the SmartGrant search interface either here or here. The SmartGrant search function is the second half of how SmartGrant has been constructed. Just like how the platform matches to your unique eligibility profile, each grant record in the database has been tagged with specific funding focus categories, meaning the types of activities that funding program funds. The SmartGrant search function is divided into three main sections: the funder name, deadline date range, and an area we call the detailed search parameters, which include our funding focus categories. Each of these sections can be used on its own or in combination with one another, however you wish to search the database. Starting at the top, you can use the funder name section if you know the name of the funder that you wish to search for. Once you click on this area, the list of available funders is visible, and you can choose one funder or add in as many as you want. For example, we could use here the BC Arts Council. You can add a second funder or a third. The possibilities are limitless. In the deadline date range, it's fairly self-explanatory. You can select a specific deadline date range, for example, if you only wanted to search for grants in the coming month. No matter what date range you choose, SmartGrant will automatically include all rolling deadlines. That means programs that allow you to apply at any time, sometimes called constant intake programs. I will show you what that looks like in a moment. If you don't wish to go any further with the search parameters and you just wanted to search a funder or a few funders in a particular date range, you can hit the Skip to Submit button, which takes you to the bottom of the screen, and you can hit the Submit button at any time in your search process. Finally is the Detailed Search Parameters section. This is the heart of the smart part of SmartGrant. It allows you to perform a highly targeted search of the database's grant records based on your specific needs. In this section, the first thing you'll see are two main sections that have to do with the age focus for your project or event or activity and the discipline of your project, event, or activity. You can choose as many as may apply to the specifics of your search. Lastly, below this section is our final section that we call the funding focus search categories. There's 12 categories in all, and these have been built on my analysis of a few hundred funding program guidelines and reflect my interpretation of the many ways in which funders fund. As you can see, the 12 categories are artistic creation, presentation, heritage or cultural conservation or revitalization, digital and technology, professional development and training, individual and organizational development and capacity building, sector development and capacity building, operations core operating, employment support, capital projects, equity deserving, equity serving projects and activities, and application assistance and access. When you click on any of these, either this button here or opening here, you'll see a number of subcategories that drop down from each of the 12 main categories. Again, all of these subcategories have been created reflecting the way in which I found that funders funded grant applicants. And so you can take a look at all of these and sort of explore them at your leisure and take a look at what might apply to what you want to search for. They have a lot of categories that are fairly self-explanatory. Some are more often used than others. For example, in artistic creation, we might search for artistic research and creation projects, creative production, for example. A lot of the categories also have a related travel category related to travel, related to creation or presentation, etc. The presentation category is probably going to be an often used one for most folks. This includes, for example, public presentation dissemination activities, which includes anything in any discipline, performances, events, exhibitions, etc. arts and cultural festivals, for example. Knowledge sharing will be a popular category as well. This is any activity that you would be doing to share workshops, panel discussions, speaker series, etc. Touring, for example. Those are all sort of popular categories. Heritage culture conservation, again, has a few things. This is largely related to museums and heritage, but it's also related to language and cultural preservation activities or sites of significance. Digital and technology, this could be online content, creative projects, it could be podcasts, websites, new technology, etc. Professional development and training is anything related to you as an individual taking part in a professional development activity, mentorships, etc. Again, travel related to that. Individual organizational development and capacity building. The first category, the first subsection on top here is related to individuals. So for individuals, personal development or learning. Operations related support, planning, fundraising support, things of that nature, audience development, inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility projects, safety, security, etc. And again, travel. Sector development and capacity building is for organizations and relates to similar projects for organizational capacity building, but those would be projects or activities that would have a larger sectoral benefit, not just to your organization. So there's a number of categories here. For example, under professional development, if your organization was going to be creating a project of benefit to a group of artists or the cultural sector, that would be what you would select there. Or industry showcases, things of that nature. Operations core operating support is pretty self-explanatory, just operating funding. Employment support for new staffing positions, summer students, co-op placements, things like that. Capital projects, so that it could include capital planning, mentoring, consultation, capital acquisition or renovation, equipment acquisition, training, accessibility issues, equity deserving, equity serving is the same list that we saw in the eligibility profile section, but rather than having to do with the mandate or eligibility of yourself or your organization, this has to do with the focus of the project itself. And last but not least, application assistance and access. This is a category for those folks that are eligible who may be able to receive application preparation assistance or access supports for other costs. So each of these categories you can explore, you can select things in combination, you can stay within one category if you wish, you don't have to select things, you can choose as many or as few as you wish to take a look at. For our purposes today, I'm just going to select a few in different categories and I'm going to run a search so you can see, and I'm going to run a search based on all disciplines, just so we can see what the results of this would be. Once you're finished sort of exploring this section, I'm going to, for my purposes of my search, I'm going to take off the BC Arts Council and I'm going to take off the deadline dates. That will give me all funders and all deadline dates. So, because I haven't specified that I want a specific funder. So you can just leave these blanks and it looks for everything. So once I've done all this, I took a look at it. I'm going to skip to the submit button. And here we go. We're going to hit the submit. So the program has now delivered search results based on two things. It's based on the eligibility profile that we completed earlier, and it's also based on the particular parameters that I gave it through the search interface. So below here, you can see what it's come back. Now it's come back with a lot of grants because my particular profile at this moment doesn't have a particular location set. It just has the entire province of British Columbia. Hence, I have a lot of results here. So you can see here it says showing 1 to 20 of 340 grants. When you do your own search, you would, of course, only receive results that reflect eligibility for the location of your activities or yourself, which of course would include BC-wide and Canada-wide granting programs as well. So you can connect through to the full program record in two ways, through this link, this hyperlink here, or through the view button over here. We'll review what a grant record looks like in the next video in this series. But for the moment, I want to show you what your options are here. If we go back up to the top, that you can save this search, you can refine it, or you can search again. So let's say we want to refine this search. We like some of our parameters, but we want to go back and change a few things. So if we click on that, it'll take us back to what our our search parameters were. For example, let's say I'm going to put in some deadline dates here. And you can change anything that you put in your original parameters. I'm going to click on all ages. Perhaps I'm going to, I might remove some things in my categories if I choose to do that. And let's just hit submit and do it again. So it's got me down to 179 grants because I asked it only to search within a particular time frame. I will tell you, so when we look at these search results, I want to look at them for a second with you. So it loads search results based on the upcoming deadline date, the name of the funder, the name of the program, funding focus, those 12 categories again. This will, even though we may not have searched in each of these 12 categories, this is showing us each category that this particular funding program is tagged with. So you can see that at grant range, and then there's access to the full record and details as well. Coming back up to the top again, you can save the search. You can search again, which erases everything that you had before and just start all over again, or you can save the search. So for right now, I'm going to show you how to save a search. So I'll pop this menu. I can save this to a search that I did previously, or I can enter a new name. So let's say we're going to call it today's date. You can name this anything you want. For example, if you search based on capital projects, maybe it's your capital project search, whatever name works for you. And we hit save. Search has been saved. If we go back to the dashboard, we'll see here is our saved search here. So you can access this search now from here. If you click here, this will open the search. If you click on this button on update, search, and save, it will do the search again. Or you can edit the name. I will show you one last thing about saved searches before we move on. This aspect here, which is our new grant alert system. So this search here was for a First Nations school that contacted me asking me about what they might be eligible for or how many records in the system they might be eligible for. And I did this search back originally in May. Since I've done this search, I've entered a number of new grant records into the system, which now matches their eligibility. So when that happens, when I enter a new thing that matches parameters that you have already put into a saved search, you'll get an alert like this that says how many new programs. So when you click on your saved search, it'll pop up with your previous saved search. And if you go down, you'll see all these little tags that say new. That is telling you that I've entered a program or a new grant record that matches your parameters. So that'll show you what that looks like. So that's a unique feature of SmartGrant that allows you to get notifications on new programs based on your specific parameters. In our next video, we'll review what the grant record looks like and also show you how to create and use the Grant Planner feature.